Well, it's Labor Day today, and I'm out here laboring on C10s. I got this guy, I'm out here in the driveway tearing apart, but I'm gonna go hit the Wayback Machine and go into the shop earlier in the weekend, and we're gonna finish the other cab, get that ready to go to the sandblaster, and then we're gonna come out here and tear the front clip and the doors off this running and driving truck, turn it into like a go-kart, and work on C10s today, I guess. Might as well. Here we go. All right, it's later in the day here, and I've got the cab for the C10 all prepped, ready to go to the sandblaster on Tuesday. It's Labor Day weekend here, and I had to do some extraneous work, or whatever the word is. Boom! Check this out. This is the brace for the master cylinder and the clutch pedal and stuff like that. And as you can see, it's rotted off. Like I said earlier, they just put these cabs together all bare metal. So it was bare metal behind there, and it's open to the top here like this, so any moisture that gets into the cab would go down, and then it was welded on the bottom, and it just like rotted it out. So I drilled out all the spot welds. There's like 8 million of them here, and I took it off. You can see that piece of shiny metal with the yellow paint on it. I had to patch the lower section that was all rotted, but I've got about 800 holes to weld up. I ordered another one of these pieces from Classic Industries. It was like 57 bucks. So we can go ahead and put that in the scrap bin. Boom. And all these huge spot welds that had pretty significant spot welds. So I'll re-plug weld the whole thing here. You can use it, you can locate it with the master cylinder holes and bolt it on there first to hold it and clamp it, and then re-plug weld this whole thing. But we'll fix that. I'll put weld through primer all behind that when it gets blasted, and it'll be good to go. Won't rust anymore behind there. The cab is all set to go. Where's my light? I've got everything ready to go up here. I've taken all the spot welds and ground them all down. You can see that panel. I actually bought these two panels here from CJ Pony Parts with the classic truck parts of their division. I bought these panels which go up inside here so I can replace those two rotted ones. But for now it's just wide open. It can get all blasted. Along the back here I was able to air chisel the spot weld pieces apart, and I ground all the spot welds off. So I'm going to actually use panel bond adhesive to do this rear seam, because there's no way I can get in there and weld it, and then I'll spot weld it all the way around the front edge here. And as you can see, the daylight through there, I need to re-seam seal. I'll probably do it from the inside and the outside, the roof section, and I need to add a couple spot welds to hold the skin down. But I've got all my floor patches ground down now. They welded into two patches from the other truck cab, so that's all ground down. I've added some feet to this tubing, which the cab can sit on this like a pedestal, so they can blast it, and I can also haul it on my trailer without setting it down on the bottom of the cab supports, no rocker panels. So that's all ready to go. I think I'm going to be able to just lift it off myself. It's pretty light now here. I can pick one half of the cab up by hand. I was trying to get my buddy Jordan over here, but he's out of town for the weekend. But I think I can pick it up and prop it up in the air enough to get the chassis out from under it. So I'm going to do-si-do these, the GTX. I'm going to do-si-do it with this truck. So tomorrow morning I can get it up in the air, get it on the trailer. I think that's all I need to tell you about this right now. I actually had a rust hole here. I had to cut part of that cowl out there, but everything else is good. I knocked some of the dents out of the roof while I had the skin out of it. I had a couple of dents here I was able to get to, and I've got to finish straightening this rail here. It's got a tiny little low spot there, but I got a bunch of other dents out of the roof, and it is pretty ready to go to blast. I'm going to get the brown truck up here. I'm going to use the doors off the brown truck since I'm making this into a 72. The brown truck has 72 doors on it, so so I'm going to use them doors, which 72 doors are different than 67 to 71. They've got an extra screw hole in them, so using them, and they're the best doors that they have. So I'm going to strip them out and send them off to get blasted as well. They'll probably just blast the under seams in the bottom of the doors, and they'll probably use, I assume, plastic media to blast the rest of the doors so they don't warp them. And they might media blast like all the paint off this body and just hit the rust with the sandblast. I'm not sure exactly how they do it. because you can warp, especially like stuff like this roof panel, you can warp that with a sandblaster. You wouldn't warp the floor and the firewall, but the big roof panel and like the door skins, you could easily warp them with sand blasting, but plastic media blasting won't do that. So they might just hit the rust with the sand and then plastic media the rest of it. I'm not sure. I got to go talk to them when I drop it off. But it's probably going to be, I don't know the exact number. It's probably going to be for the cab and the doors. It ain't cheap. It's probably, I'm going to guess $1,000 to get this cab and doors blasted, judging by what it costs to get my frame blasted and primered. The primer is really expensive. So I bought my own epoxy primer for this, so I'm going to epoxy it. So I'll get the cab home in bare metal and then immediately primer it so it doesn't have time to flash rust, and then work on it from there with epoxy primer on it. But at least it'll be, all the rust will be out of it. Hopefully these floor pans are good here. I think they will be. I think they'll just be pitted, but I don't think there's going to be any holes that show up. They seem pretty solid. The pitting seems minimal in them. And then, well, easily the inner rockers and stuff, they'll go bang right in the position real easy. And then fix this panel down here, hang the cab corners and the rocker panels once they cut the door bars out of it. Get the them to fit the seams or the door gaps good. You don't want to put rocker panels on without having the doors on it, because you could get them off and then have the door seams off. The other truck that I started with, somebody had put rocker panels and cab corners on it, and the cab corners were too tall and the rockers are also too tall, and they hit the doors. They did a horrible job putting them in. So we'll definitely mount the doors on here, get them all fitted to the top of the cab, and then do the rockers last. Apologize because it's a little windy out here today. It's the next day, and we're going to get this guy picked up here. I got the cherry picker hooked up here. I've got it chained across the two bars and strapped to pick the bag up. This is kind of precarious, so I'm going to put you guys over here so you can watch. Add one under person, we'd be able to do this, because you can easily pick the cab up. Okay. Whoa, careful. Okay, now if I put a little into it, it should be leveled out. There we go. There we go. It's like a balancing act. I just want to get it high enough to have it not feel like rest, so I can push the frame out from under the way, then back the trailer under it without having to blow away. Yeah. I don't need to be this high. I'm going to have to actually pull the engine stand out first. We just got to get high enough to get over the frame. I don't want to be that high. Oop. Easy. Luckily I can... Oh yeah, here we go. There we go. Oh, easy. There we go. I'd really like to get away from my van. A little do-si-do here. Easy. Not scary at all. It's fine. Everything's good. Not scary at all. All right, brought the trailer closer, so now let's just drive this guy. It's got to go this way. I think we should just be able to drive it right onto the trailer. Oh, easy now. Easy now. This is where I holler, don't get under it, but kind of is what it is. Now, that's as far as I can go by myself here. Yeah, that'll be all right. It's going to sit right over the axle. Perfect. Oh, easy. Easy. That's going to be perfect. Coming down. Oh. Why are we precarious here? We're precarious somehow. Shoot, if it would go ahead a little bit, it would help. Because I'm back in the dragster tire. Yeah, okay. This guy's just got to come up like this. The engine crane's still fighting me. All right, I pulled the original Too Rusty to Fix truck up here. And I think I want to take the inner fenders out and take them and get them blasted too, because this one's got some surface rust on the inside, or on the the inside, and then the outside of these are both surface rusted, but I think they're solid. I don't need to replace them, or they're good enough for... Is there any holes? I don't see any holes. Looks like they're going to be good enough to run on the truck. New ones are like $200 plus shipping for a pair, but I'm sure I can get these blasted and painted for less than $200, and they're not rotted out, it looks like, so might as well save some money. Might as well save money while we can. Yeah, them brackets there, they don't appear to be rusted out. I was going to take the doors off and get them blasted, but the doors are actually really, really solid, except for a little bit of action at the very bottom here. And my buddy Jordan's got a blasting room at his house, so I think I'm going to take these over and just blast the bottom edges myself at Jordan's house. Just blast up here. I might have to replace some metal down here. They don't have to be perfect, but that way I don't got to take the glass out and strip everything out of the doors and like get them completely stripped down to take them to the big blaster. Save some time, save some money. This has got filler in it here, and this door, pretty sure it's got a hole in the front there. I've got a lower skin for this side, but it'll save me a ton of time, it'll save me money if I don't have the big blaster completely blast this door. I can strip all this down with a DA or a paint stripper or whatever, get the paint off it, and just oh no, there's filler up in that front edge. Well, I've got another set of doors that came with the other truck, so maybe I got enough to take them when I want to run these doors on here, because they're complete and they all fit, and they're the 72 style doors with the screw there, so I want to have the right doors on it to clone a 72. Yeah, so let's get might as well take this whole thing right apart now. I mean, I've been leaving it together because it's kind of packages nice and drives around. I think we'll take the hood off. We'll take the inner fenders, the outer fenders. These are both rotted on top. Maybe somebody needs them for cheap. Hopefully I can sell them for cheap, $40 or something. You know, they've had some filler put in them, but if you just needed some knock around beater fenders, they'd be better than nothing, better than scrapping them, right? Unfortunately, cheap knockoffs are only like $200 a piece, so original slightly rusted fenders don't have a lot of value, but they're better than nothing. This hood is pretty much junk. The inner structure here is all rotted and patched with fiberglass, and rotted here, rotted there. The skin is good. Well, no, it's not. I'm lying. It's all bubbly in the front. But maybe, I don't know. I doubt it's worth selling. Nobody's going to buy a rusted out hood. Probably I'll just throw it out back. And the core support I can probably sell for somebody that wants to patch one. It's all rotted on the bottom. They're like 200 bucks. I don't know. I'll throw it in. I'll put a pile together and I'll just store some of the stuff for crash parts or pieces. I don't know. None of it's really worth anything. I did see something that I didn't realize. The transmission hangs off the bell housing kind of like a 57 Chevy deal does, and there's a cross member that rivets into the frame. This truck must have been a V8 because there's no 6-cylinder cross member here. It's got this piece of tubing bolted in, which I don't think is the actual transmission mount. It's like somebody made that. But it has a clutch linkage here, but then there's no cross member for the clutch unless somebody drilled out the rivets, which is possible because it would have gone right here. That might have been what happened. They removed it because, oh yeah, yep, see the grinding marks? Okay, so they cut the cross member out of this frame to put a small block in it. So this probably was a 6-cylinder 3-on-the-tree short box truck originally. So I can get rid of that, and I got to take the cross member out of the other frame and put it into here. Luckily, we still got all the parts for everything, and yeah. So that's why I'm not getting rid of anything until I get this truck put back together. So I've got like 2.5 trucks worth of parts now, so I should be able to put one back together, hopefully. All right, boom, I got the both fenders off. I made some just like flat stock. I had this, whatever, 3/4 inch flat stock, and I just drilled it and bolted to one of the fender bolts, and I bolted to the core support to hold that in place so I can still drive the truck around. It's still got the mounts, but they're kind of rusty. And I was a little nervous about the thing flexing around and pulling the fan with the weight of the battery and stuff hanging on the core support into the radiator, even though the radiator is pretty much junk. But this is got that mounted up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and burn these doors off here. I think I can just run I got that latched, right? Yeah, I think it'll hang on the latch. Let's try it. Boom, there's one. Ooh, brand new shiny metal in there. There's 2. Oh, they're fine thread. How about that? There's 3. 4. 5. 6. Now I'm gonna lean on this so it can't fall out of the hole. I think all I gotta do is grab it somehow. What can I grab on? This, something, and oh, it's heavy in the front. Hold on, I miscalculated. Shoot. There we go. Bam. Guys are heavier than I thought they were. So there's one. And I'm just going to get these off right now. I'm going to disassemble them later in the garage, get the door panels off and all that stuff. You can see the door jambs and how these adjust. There's plates in here that rattle around so you can adjust your doors. They're not going back on this cab, so don't worry about it. But if you can see here, there's rust behind the hinges. That means they bolted the doors on in place before they painted these trucks. Bare metal it was. Got a couple of bolts down here. There's like a big fender washer bracket behind this panel. You can take them off and save them. I've actually got new ones because they tend to rust. I think they're also put together in bare metal. This truck had rocker panels welded into it, and they were installed poorly. It's actually a little bit more solid than the other truck maybe in here than it was. The other one had some more rust in there from debris. But overall the cab is pretty much junk. So I'm going to knock both doors off. Like I said, take them to my buddy Jordan's house and blast them around on the bottom, get them repaired, get them in. I can be working on these while the truck cab is away at the sandblaster, get them fixed up and get them in primer maybe. And then once we start assembling the truck, we'll have the doors to go. I'll bag and tag my action here so I don't lose them. Probably going to get some evapor rust for all the hardware. These are painted still on there. You can see the medium red this truck was originally on there, but I'll probably get a thing of evapor rust because the rest of the hardware is all scaly, and soak it, and it should eat the rust off and make everything shiny and brand new again. Then I'll probably just paint them black, you know, stick all the bolts in something, put black on them, or dip them in black paint or something, just to kind of restore the hardware. But fine thread bolts, don't lose those, you'll need them. And let me pop the other door off and see if there's anything else I need right now, and then we'll climb in this thing like a go-kart and go stash it out back for later. All right, here we go. Hopefully this thing still works. I gotta turn the battery on with the switch that's now free air. That's great. Boom, switch is on, gas is in the thing. Fan is not fanning, not gonna hit nothing. I got a wooden box I'm sitting on here over a hole in the floor. We should be ready for action. Haha, look at that. We got ourselves a go-kart. Boom. We got us a go-kart. If this is four-wheel drive, we could go jeeping with it, just like the jeeping guys. We're free air in our Chevy truck. Just gonna bring it down here for now. Whoa, what was that? It's the hood in the back. I'd like to stash this somewhere. Maybe just right here for now, next to Ted's camper, because it's inconspicuous. If I put it right on Ted's camper right away, real tight, maybe it'll be inconspicuous that it's missing half the body panels. Oh boy. There we go. Well, how about that? I love my C10 go-kart. This thing's great. I need those out of there. Oh, there's more rust in the roof. We're done dealing with rusty roofs. We already got the other truck cut apart. And yeah. Well, I think that's where I'm going to end it right now. We got the old C10 go-kart here. It is still functional for the most part. There we go, kill the battery. I got to get a tarp, and I'm going to cover up the engine and the dasher, put that plastic back over it. But now I'll need something else. Probably put a tarp over that because it'll immediately blow off. But she is almost ready for the final trip under its own power. Like I said, I'm going to leave this functional as long as I can, and then once we get the other truck back and get it in primer, do all the metal work, get the cab pretty much painted, at least the firewall and the interior of the cab painted, put the rest of it in primer, hang the doors and all that stuff. Then I'll pull the wiring harness out of this one, pull the engine out, cut the cab off, or actually leave the engine here. I'll pull the harness and stuff off, cut the cab up. I'm probably going to save the back of the roof because it's a big window cab, and this part's okay. I'll probably just like saw it off here because this is junk, and it's also junk in there. But I'll probably just zing it there and then cut it off down here somewhere, because this is all full of filler and it's junk on the bottom. So I'll probably like cut it off in here, or actually right below this. I'll saw it off, and I'll save this roof section just because it's a big window back cab, just to have that. The rest of it's junk. All this is junk. The dash is, well, the face of the dash, I need to pull the rest of that out. But the bottom, all the bottom's garbage. Junk. Core support's junk. And yeah, I'm gonna try to sell the frame. It's a disc brake frame, long box. It's never, the springs are in the back are junk. It needs springs. It need to be sandblasted, obviously. It's got the original ball joints in it and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's probably worth $100, couple $100 to somebody looking for parts or looking for an extra chassis. I'll get rid of that, and then pretty much use it for the parts to put the other truck together. And hopefully we'll be able to finish this build, because I've wanted to start it and get it going in June, and now it is September. It's Labor Day, and well, taking this apart and finding the rust in the cab was a huge disaster for me. Luckily I found that other truck, so I got a good builder that I was able to switch gears and abandon this truck and build on the other truck. And we'll make 1 out of 2 or 2.5-ish, because I had some other parts from other trucks I bought. So we'll make 1 out of 2.5 trucks. Kind of like, it's not the record like the Brown Dodge took like 5 or 6 trucks to put the Brown Dodge back together. So the C10 is not too bad. 2.5 trucks to make 1's not too bad. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed your Labor Day. I'll be back next time. I don't know what I'm going to be working on. Oh, I know. We got a tractor show coming up Ted are going to. I got to get out my AA tow truck. It's been derelict for a year. Flat tires, bird crap. And then I've got to get my dragster out and work on that, because we got a show to take the dragster to with the Studebaker truck. So I should probably make sure the Studebaker truck's okay to tow the dragster, because I haven't done anything with that since the Carlisle debacle. It should be okay. I don't know. Lots to work on. You'll see it here next time. Bam. At the Quick Speed Shop.